How do you think people from other ethnic groups could benefit from having this type of experience?
So we're having these amazing experiences here in South Africa with the museums and with the prisons and with just eating delicious food, right?
Right.
And so all the things that we were doing, but it provided the opportunity to learn from each other.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody? I'm here in Cape Town, South Africa, with a very special person who's celebrating a very special birthday. This is Sherri, and she's just going to tell you a little bit about, I guess, your experience since you've been with us here on this Urban Intellectuals partnership with Maximum Impact. And this is your first time in Africa?
Yes.
All right. Yep. And you have, I guess, seen so much on this trip. I mean, we've been spending a whole lot of time talking. And so we'll talk a little bit about that, and we'll talk about your big birthday surprise.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay.
That happened. So what has it been like being here in Africa for the first time? And I guess you're from the Detroit area.
Yep, Michigan.
And
yep.
So you spend a lot of time working with youth.
I do.
And so what has this experience been like for you?
It's been so much different than I didn't really have an expectation.
Okay.
I just came because my colleagues said, we're going, let's go. We'll work there. We'll see what's going on there. And so I didn't have an expectation, but it's changed my whole perspective on many things on levels that I never anticipated.
What is something that has resonated with you when you talk about perspectives and just the whole experience? Because it does it to people in different ways, and I've heard this from so many different people.
Right.
So how do you think it's changed you?
It's given me a perspective about Black people, and in a way that I just never anticipated. And it's been great to have conversations about things that I've wondered about, or things I maybe even haven't been on my radar.
Okay.
In a way that is educational or conversational, or help me understand this, or let's talk about things where there's no charge.
I got it. Okay.
There's just a conversation. And that's really been fascinating.
So you've been able to do that on this trip?
I have.
Okay, good.
I have. Yeah.
And you work with a lot of Black youth in the Detroit area, and just kind of put that into context. So I guess a lot of the different things that you've seen over the years, perhaps this has kind of opened your mind to, maybe, I don't know.
Well, but even to that, Jay, I'm still, there's still a lot I'm processing. So I don't even have the words yet to articulate it.
Okay.
But I feel, I just feel more grounded, more maybe connected as a, what's the word? With people.
Understood.
You know, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, purple, or orange. It's just a connection on a deeper level with maybe the human experience. And so many of the things that we've seen have given context to people's stories and people's history. And it infects mine as well. It's probably raised more questions than answers. And I'm excited about that, because it's like, oh, okay, I want to know more. Tell me more. I want to know more.
How do you think others, whether they're white, Black, Latino, Asian, could benefit from having this type of experience? Because, a lot of times people come to South Africa for one reason or another, but you came as a part of this experience, and I guess the majority of the group was Black, African American, however you want to call it. And so what was that experience like for you?
It was interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, interesting.
You use my word now.
Right, and I never felt uncomfortable or awkward, or like I wasn't included or anything. I didn't feel that way at all, and it was really kind of fun to hear different expressions,
Right.
to hear different thoughts, to hear different, I don't know, just sayings, phrases.
Because everyone, I'm very familiar with Black culture.
Yeah.
And no one changed because, there's this thing in our community that sometimes if someone from a different ethnic group comes around, now we
Yeah.
change.
Right.
But no one changed.
I didn't feel that way.
No,
I honestly
I
didn't
was
feel that
checking
way.
to make sure. I was like,
Okay.
now, are they going to switch up? But everybody was still who they are. And I think the part for me that was powerful that you didn't feel. I knew you didn't feel awkward because everybody
Good.
embraced you, and so I thought
Good.
that was really cool. How do you think? Again, back to my question. How do you think people from other ethnic groups could benefit from having this type of experience?
Well, so one of the conversations I probably had a dozen different conversations with people, as you do, because that's one of the beauties about a trip where you're with people for days at a time.
Yes.
You can start a conversation and then you can pick it up, and then you can pick it up, right, as you're moving through your thought process. And one of the things, I had a conversation around a woman whose family had come from slavery, and her the family that had been the slave owners had reached out to them. And so she was telling me of stories where people are now friends, and they gather once a year, and they do it as a way to move the story forward instead of staying stuck in their history.
Okay.
And it was like I'd never heard that before.
Yeah, I never heard that before either.
And so we talk about, forgiveness and around moving forward. I'm all about how we create our best selves and create the future we want. And so it was just really interesting to hear different people's stories and how they worked with them or moved into them and became aware of the story, and like you said, how it affected each of us,
Right.
because we all have our own stories.
Yes.
Right? And so you may say something about your story that triggers something about mine, and it's like, wow, I hadn't thought about it from that perspective. And so that was amazing.
And that's a form of education.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. But it was in a way that was organic. Right? There was nothing forced about it.
Right.
And so we're having these amazing experiences here in South Africa, with the museums and with the prisons and with just eating delicious food, right?
Right.
And so all the things that we were doing, but it provided the opportunity to learn from each other.
Yeah.
And had fun. We laughed our heads
Oh
off.
my goodness. I don't think I will always remember this group because of the laughter and the genuine care that everyone expressed for one another. If someone was missing, where's so-and-so? Where's Sherri? Where's Doris?
Right.
Wait a minute, we can't leave. Where are they? And that was the part that really warmed my heart. I'm sure people are maybe wondering because we have a lot of people from other ethnic groups that are curious about whether or not they would be welcomed on a trip like this. Because I think one side say maybe some Black people might be concerned that if we have people from other ethnic groups, they might be concerned that we might whitewash the story and kind of tone it down. And well, maybe we won't say that, or let's move this up. Let's make everybody. Did you feel as though the story was whitewashed in any way, meaning that we left out pieces of the Black history, the African history, the stories? Did you feel that at all?
No, and it's interesting that you say that, because there were times where, like, the guys were talking about what happened and the behavior of white people
Yes.
towards the Black people, and there was never, and it was just interesting to me sitting there as a white person feeling like there was no uncomfortableness, there was no awkwardness. It's like, tell the story, the facts of the story, and I got to be part of that conversation as well. And like I said, it's hard to articulate
Yeah, I know, you're
because
still
I'm not quite
processing.
find the words, but there wasn't anything where I felt like the story was being changed in any way for my comfort or because I was there. And I really appreciated that, because then it gave me the opportunity to really think about it from a factual basis,
Right.
and not from a modified basis.
Got it.
Right? If that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense.
Right.
And for many of us who've lived the Black American experience for, say, 30 years or so, we're used to, even people from the Black community, modifying to make everyone else feel better instead of saying, hey, here are the facts. It is what it is.
Right.
So how do we move forward? What do we do to move forward?
And so I had a conversation with one of my friends that was saying, well, I've been here and in the States, and they were saying, well, I was raised in a mixed neighborhood, and I said, that's still not the same. You're a white guy raised in a mixed neighborhood. Okay, so that was your experience, but your skin isn't black.
Right.
Your skin is white, so you're having a white guy experience, right? You're not having a black guy experience.
Very, very true.
And so, but the thing that I loved about it, I really, really loved about it, is that he stopped and he said, that's true. And so it's like he is now thinking through his experiences about his experiences and realizing that was just his experience.
Yeah.
It was a mixed neighborhood, but he's a white guy in a mixed neighborhood.
That's right.
So, and it doesn't make it right or wrong, and there's no judgment. It's just like, oh, maybe there's other perspectives of the story that I haven't thought about.
And I think that's the part, understanding other perspectives. And it was good to be able to hear your perspective. And then to be a guest on your show,
Oh,
Good
yeah.
Fat Life.
Yeah.
Did I get it right?
Yeah, you did.
I
Good,
did.
Good Fat Life.
And one of the things that we're all looking for is to be able to live the life that we're supposed to live a healthy life. Tell us a little bit about your show.
So, Good Fat Life, it started with people, it started around health and wellness, nutrition, because so many people don't eat enough good fat, and so they have physical issues as a result of that. So we started with good fat, but then we found that so many people who cared enough to eat good fat wanted to know more. They care about the thoughts they think, the people they surround themselves, the environment they lived in, and so we moved into education, and it's hard to get good education doesn't have a marketing slant to it.
Right.
And so our whole thing is around what can we do to live our best life, and we call that our good fat life. To be intentional about creating the life that works best for you.
And you have a magazine.
We have a magazine.
I've seen it with articles, and it was a lot of information that it's a lot of people will find very beneficial. How can they find your website, or how can they get in contact with you?
Well, thank you for asking. Goodfatlife.com.
Okay, goodfatlife.com, and you can learn everything that Sherri's doing. I believe that the more conversations we have like this, the more we begin to learn, because I didn't know anything about Good Fat Life.
Oh, right.
But then when I came on the podcast, I was learning more about what you were doing as we were talking about travel and the importance of travel, and to be able to have these types of conversations, because now we've established a connection.
Right.
You're working with Black youth in Detroit. I've worked with youth over the past 25 years. And we found out that we have a lot of similar interests with the financial literacy and the entrepreneurship and the life skills and
health and wellness,
all of these things.
Self-mastery.
Self-mastery.
Yep.
Even talking about sponsoring a trip to bring some of those youth over here to the continent somewhere. Those are, if we never met,
right.
All of these conversations, now I'm going back and I'm thinking and I'm saying to myself, let me learn about your program. Let me learn about what you're doing with the youth, but then let me learn more about Good Fat Life too. And so I think all of that is a wonderful part of what travel has done, because we probably would have never met in the States, but we had to come meet over here, in Africa. Now, as we get ready to close out, I did mention that Sherri's celebrating a birthday today. We had a big celebration. She didn't know anything about it. How did you enjoy your celebration tonight?
Well, as you saw, it brought me to tears. Serious tears running down my face, because it was so beyond anything I expected. And you throw music into it, and young people that are so excited and good at what they do and willing to share it. So the music and the dance and it exceeded all of my expectations.
Well, we aim to please.
I know, and you do an amazing job. But it was, we're like, well, we don't want to we want to celebrate our birthdays with you now, Jay. So all birthdays with Jay,
But
right?
I've been told I know how to throw a party. That's the rumor on the streets, that I know how to throw a party.
Yeah, you do.
But I believe that, just that moment, and I didn't expect it to be as much as when I saw it. I was like, wow. And then when I saw the tears, I was like, there it is.
I was so touched.
And I hope it'll always be a memory that you can cherish and share with your family, and who knows what's next. You just got.
Right.
I look forward to coming to Detroit.
Yes.
And I've been to Detroit. I love Detroit.
Oh, it's a fun city.
It is a very fun city.
Yeah.
And I look forward to coming back, spending time learning more about what you're doing with the youth, and if there's any way that we can participate. Obviously, Urban Intellectuals, they focus on education, Black history, education through the Black History flashcards and the Sankofa Club and so many other resources. And with Maximum Impact, we focus on education through travel and focusing on African diaspora destinations. So that's how we've merged and come together. But then when you have so many people out on the battlefield working to educate our youth in so many different ways, if we can find a way to bridge that gap, I believe that's something that can be around for many generations.
I totally agree, and I feel I will be that much better at what I do because of this experience here. I just have a deeper understanding. It's like so many things you just don't get from books, right? So I'm so grateful to you for all of that. Really, it's been a transformational experience.
Well, like I said, you're still processing it, so I understand
am.
that feeling. I understand that moment of like, okay.
So you will love this. So on the safari, we got amazing pictures of like the elephants and the animals. And so I sent a couple of video. I have one video of elephants and the babies and the 2-day-old baby in the herd. And I've been sending that to my friends saying, oh, look who interrupted our meeting. We were having a meeting here with my colleagues, and look who showed up.
And they were like, what's going
on?
Exactly.
And they're like, I want to come to your meetings.
But that's how you do it.
Right.
Little by little.
Right.
And before you know it, perspectives have changed, and we've all matured as a result of it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's great. So thank you.
Well, thank you. And Sherri, I want to thank you for trusting us with this experience. And I know that this is not the end.
Right.
So,
right.
And thank you for allowing. That's all right. The beginning, right. And thank you for inviting me to be on your platform. And I look forward to the results from there. Hey, but here's the deal. Be sure to check out goodfatlife.com if you want to learn more about what Sherri's doing, and of course what we're doing here with Maximum Impact. You can definitely follow, like, share, subscribe, and be sure to also check out Urban Intellectuals at Urban Intellectuals. And you go to their website, urbanintellectuals.com. So if you want to travel, you know what to do. Click urbanintellectuals.com.
Open up your eyes and see all the fun and mystery. Take an African adventure with Darren and Destiny. From the mountains to the shore, so many things to explore. Take an African adventure with Darren and Destiny.
The Adventures of Darren and Destiny. And Darren and Destiny are twin brother and sister, and you go on their adventures throughout the African diaspora, meaning so African diaspora destinations, primarily focused in Africa, but we go to South America, we're going to go to the Caribbean. Their first book is going to take you to Ghana, and then we're going to go on a safari, and from there we're going to go to Ethiopia, and then we go to Salvador, Brazil. And what the goal is to be able to inspire curiosity in the continent of Africa, in our children from a very young age, and to really tell a more accurate story. Most of our children are exposed to negative images, late night infomercials about how bad things are, everybody's sick, everybody's poor, everyone's uneducated, but that's simply not true. So what Darren and Destiny and their family do is they go to different African destinations. They are learning about these different places. You're beginning to see positive images, but still telling the truth. I mean, that's the important thing, to tell the truth about some of the things that have occurred. But it's all done on our children's level so they begin to understand it. And it begins to pique their curiosity. They begin to learn more. And hopefully one day they will want to explore and visit the continent of Africa and its many countries. There's just so much that Darren and Destiny are able to do, and as they're doing it, it's like they begin to open the minds of a new generation. And they don't get bombarded and indoctrinated with negativity. They're actually able to see positivity and inspiring images and messages about the African diaspora, as well as those who are still indigenous to the continent of Africa, and they begin to learn more and just see things differently. So I'm excited about introducing the adventures of Darren and Destiny.